Welcome everyone, it's Shari Carroll for another edition of our Funny Friday using art impression stamps. I am using the set Spring Chicken, and it has several of these great chickens. All of them are gals doing some celebrating for birthdays. And I was especially taken by the little spring chicken at the bottom and the snarky little gal at the right. I'm using the smooth side of Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock, and I've put it on my stamp and stencil mat inside my MISTI to hold it together. I have placed my stamps on the door, and I'm going to be using the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink to ink this up, since it's really great for watercoloring and Copic marker use. Once I've pressed down my image, I can open the door to check my impression. If I need to, I can stamp it again since it's on this watercolor cardstock. For my springy chicken, down in here in the bottom, it is set on some springs and also has that little spring mark that I'm going to stamp onto this paper. So I'm just going to mask this off with some tape just to get the little springy marks. Then I can remove the tape and stamp it onto my paper. And then I'll stamp my springy chicken onto a second piece of watercolor cardstock. I'm going to speed this up a bit as I do my watercoloring, and for my background I do like to use regular watercolors, but first I want to lay down an area of just clean water, and I'm just outlining around that chicken. So I'm going to start with the background first, and then I'll move to doing all the detail. Now that I have the background wet, I'm adding some water to my brush and grabbing some paint, and I'm just going to move around this chicken, and I'm getting a really nice wash. And I want to get my more concentrated color close to her, and then I can continue to add some water to my brush and pull the color away. If you don't have a set of watercolors, you could definitely do this with some distress inks or even distress watercolor pencils by scribbling some out on a grid mat, adding water to create a wash. Now it's time to paint my little girls, and I've mixed up some brown paint. Again, you could use your watercolor pencils for this by just coloring them onto your paper, then using a wet brush to move your colors around. Once my watercoloring was dry, I'm going to be adding a silver frame, and I've cut this from the A2 nested frames from Simon Says Stamp. This die set lets you create different frames and different sizes so that you can accentuate parts of your pieces. So to use this, I'm going to just add my Simon Says Stamp Tacky glue right around the edges, and I'm just doing a small thin bead. And once I have that glued up, I can lay this right on top of my piece to frame my chicken. And next I'm using my everyday scissors from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm cutting around the edge of that frame so that I can have this panel to set onto a top folding note card. And next I've stamped Hello Spring Chicken in black just below that chicken wing. I've cut an additional frame from Audrey Blue cardstock, and I've put that onto my note card. And the next thing I want to do is to put some of that Simon Says Stamp Craft Tacky glue all over the back of my panel and set that on to the center. I love how the Audrey Blue works with that blue sky, and it ties everything together. And now it's time to finish this off to create a little fun interaction. I'm using one of the mini or the smaller action wobblers, and I'm peeling off the back of the adhesive so it has that little backing. And now I'm going to place this right where I want it, and then I can put my chicken on top. So a little bit of adjustment just to make sure she's sitting right where I want her, and I like that, how that's looking. So now I can press that wobbler down in place. And now I can remove the backing of the platform. It is in two pieces, so make sure you take off both of those pieces of adhesive backing. And then I can place my chicken just centered onto that wobbler for my super cute interactive card, spring-loaded with a springy chicken. I hope you've enjoyed this Funny Friday card. I really loved how it looks, and it actually looks like that gal on the right is being a little naughty by springing her friend off into the air. I have my supplies listed in the description box below, and as always, thanks so much for watching.
there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.